Okay, so I have a little bit of free time right now. I'm just waiting for my mom to get out of a church board meeting because she is on our church board. Um I just figured I would talk about something that is very important to me. And I really feel like it's an important topic to talk about. Um and it's going to be my experience with long distance relationship and surviving the distance. I know there's a few people that have probably come across my channel that don't know me. Um, and I'm going to go right ahead and say, for the most part of my husband and my relationship, our relationship, we have been long distance, meaning we met and then we were long distance for like a year. Then he was here for 3 months, and then he had to leave again, and we were long distance for another year. And then he came and we got married, and then we've been long distance since November 9th, 2014. Excuse my voice. I really still have a cold. I don't have a cold, it's just it moved to my vocal cords, and it's going to be for a while. So excuse that. I could really use a drink of water, but there is none in the car. So that's just some background on us. The majority of our relationship has been long distance, and we are currently long distance right now, and we are working on getting him here permanently for spouse visa. Really, I just feel like I want to kind of get it out there the way our life has been long distance and some tips and tricks on how to make it work. First off, I think the reason that gave us the success we did is we started our relationship from that long distance. Our relationship as a couple was started with him 12,000 miles away. So we kind of went into it knowing that we were a long distance away, and we didn't really know when we could be together as a couple permanently. So we kind of went into it with our eyes open and the unknown looming over us already. So I think that played a major role in our relationship lasting, and I really think that that's something that you really do have to take into consideration if you start a relationship with somebody that is 12,000 miles away or even 2,000 miles away. I think it comes more to play when you are in two separate countries and there is immigration involved. If you are just doing long distance for a year or something because of a job and you are both citizens of the same country, I don't think it's that big of a deal, and I'm sorry if I'm being insensitive to anybody. I'm honestly not trying to be, but based on what we have already been through together, almost 3 years of being long distance, and being in separate countries 12,000 miles away from each other, to me, somebody only being like a year away from me and they're already a citizen of the country I live in, that's like easy. So if you feel like you're about to face a year apart because of a job or something, just think there are people worse off than you that have made it. So take that as a comfort. Don't take that as I'm trying to brag and say that I'm better than you because I was able to endure more than you. No, do not take it that way. I'm just saying, take it as a comfort. There are people out there who have done like 5 years long distance, 6 years long distance, and I can't even imagine how they've done it. So I take that as a comfort. I just swore I heard somebody scream. But anyway, take that as a comfort that there are people out there who have made it longer than you and have success stories. So don't feel bad about it. Don't feel like, oh no, I hope that's not me. Just be happy. And know that you can do it if you love each other. And, you know, we kind of went into our kind of went into our relationship with the notion that, if we really love each other enough, and if this really is what's meant to be, we're going to endure anything. And I'm talking with my hands, but you can't see my hand. We kind of went into it with that notion straight off the bat that, we're going to make this work because we both feel that this is right. And here's another tip. If you are not coming into it from a relationship that you've had in person, if it's not something that you're forced to do, and you're kind of like, you were together before and then somebody left, don't go into a relationship without knowing 100% sure that this is something that you want to make work. Because don't waste 2 years of your life stressed out on nothing. Make sure that you are both 100% certain that the end result is a future together. There's really no room for space. There's really not room for a fling or a short-term relationship with somebody when you are 12,000 miles apart or even 2,000 miles apart. There's really no room for a fling or a short-term relationship with somebody who is from another country. And the reason I'm saying this, and I'm pretty sure anybody else who has ever been in a relationship with somebody who is from another country, you kind of have to look at the end result as you both being together, and that takes a lot of work. Something that a lot of people don't understand or don't realize because of the way media and Hollywood portrays it is that you do not marry somebody and randomly just automatically become a United States citizen. It is a long process. Like the movie The Proposal, it makes it look like you just get engaged and you're automatically allowed to stay in the country. That's very tricky. If my husband were to stay right after we got married, we would have to prove that we did not plan on getting married when he came and didn't plan on him staying in the country, which is difficult. But even though we did not plan on getting married and him staying, there was really no way to prove that. So that could have been extremely tricky and resulted in visa fraud accusations, and then that would have been not good. So he went back home and we're doing it the hard way, which takes forever, and it's difficult, but it's worth it. And that's one of the tricks to staying together and not breaking up is think of the end result. If your end result is a life together, then 3 years, 4 years, in the long run isn't going to be that long of time. And if you are doing it for somebody that you love, if you're waiting for somebody that you love, it is worth it. And if you're sitting there going, well, this isn't worth it, I'm calling it off, then you're probably not with the right person anyway. And sometimes you will end up calling something off and end up with them later on anyway. But if you're thinking of calling it off, you might not be with the right person to begin with. And I hate to say that because that's never something that somebody wants to hear, because you may love somebody, but not enough to wait for them, or not enough to go through that for them. And if you really want to spend the rest of your life with somebody, you are going to jump through all the hoops you have to have the end result of being with them. And so that's one of the things right there, is know 100% in your heart that you want to be with somebody. And another thing is, if you jump into the relationship, a long-distance relationship, after having been in a personal one-on-one relationship with somebody for whatever amount of time in person, this is going to be much more difficult for you. Because like I said, something that made it easier for us is that we were starting the relationship long distance. So that's kind of all we were used to, was long distance. So it was easier in that sense because we weren't already accustomed to being together all the time. And So I think if you are starting a relationship out long distance from having been together all the time, I think that's going to set a whole bunch of new obstacles. And I actually do have advice for this, even though I've never been in this situation before. I can still give you advice because they're basic long distance relationship tips. It doesn't matter if you started it as a long distance relationship or if you ended up in one from a prior relationship. Always take time for each other. And I know this is the longest video ever, and I don't care because it's important to me, and I know that it's important to other people too. Always allot time to spend with each other, because what happened with me and my husband was he would get up early to work, and so he'd have to go to bed early. So I would wake up at like 9 in the morning, and he'd been sleeping since 7. So I don't get to talk to him the entire day. By the end of my day, it's already morning for him. So I would wake up, he'd already be sleeping, and it's morning there already, and he'd have to either work, or the days off he had, I'd feel compelled to stay up till 3 in the morning, and then I would be getting no sleep, and it was just a very, very, very bad schedule, because you kind of have to find a schedule that works for you, and even if it's only an hour of being able to talk to each other, it's an hour. It's not nothing. So you at least have 1 hour together. And so you really need to set times. And I know that that's kind of not romantic. It's not spontaneous. Like, you can't just say, "Oh, I want to talk to you right now." You have to schedule time, and as much, sorry, I ran out of memory, so I'm going to sum this up quickly. And as much as that is not convenient, you really do have to schedule the time, or you're either going to end up with no time or really messed up sleeping schedules. So you really need to set aside time for each other. And if you stop doing that and you have no time together, then you're going to feel like you're in a dead-end relationship and you have no future with that person. And you're going to feel withdrawn from them, and it's just not going to be good. So make sure you always have time together, and just keep your eyes on the prize. Keep looking and looking forward to and thinking about the end result, because you're going to be so happy in the end that you're finally with the person that you worked for. And I think so many people, same thing in marriages, and this is why I think so many marriages do fail when they shouldn't. I'm not saying that the main cause of divorce is this. There are definitely good, legitimate causes for people to get out of a toxic relationship. However, I think a lot of problems in people's marriages or relationships in general, including especially long distance, is that you want an easy relationship. You don't want to have to work to actually earn that person's love. Just scrape by with a bare minimum. Don't do sweet things. Don't do this. Don't do that. You just want an easy relationship. But if you want a relationship worth your time and worth the other person's time, it takes work. And, if it's worth it, keep on plugging away, because it's worth it, So that's basically all I have to say. And, if you're in a long-distance relationship, and you're feeling discouraged, don't feel discouraged, because if you know in your heart that it is what is meant to be, and you both mutually feel like it, don't give up, And I know so many people, it's so easy to say that, and I know, it's hard. I know from experience, I know it's very difficult. And I've basically been through the ringer as far as it is. 3 years, 12,000 miles, 12-hour time difference. It's brutal, but it's worth it. So, don't get discouraged. And if you need to talk to anybody who has been through this, just go right ahead and message me. Comment, I'll message you, whatever. Because there are people out there who can support you, who have been through it. Just keep looking forward, keep your head up, and have a good day.